My name's Jake. I own a record label. Well, own is a very subjective term, but I started a record label called PAKY. It stands for Pass Along Knowledge Yourself, because instead of owning the rights to a band's music, I would rather just direct them in the way to own the rights to their own music and their own career, and not have to rely on some entity outside of their band, working for them. There's a lot of things in the music industry that are kind of kept as like trade secrets, and record labels use them to further the career of bands, and I don't want to keep those secrets. I want to tell people, because I think that if more bands knew how simple it was to just do it themselves and not have to rely on, does the record label owner think we're good enough? Is this song good enough? Is it going to sell enough? You can just put out the music you love because you love it and because you loved writing it, and you won't have to worry about, is it going to sell, because you will have created your own world, essentially, your own island, for lack of a better way to say it. But in that, there's a saying, no man is an island unto himself. We're an interdependent record label. We rely on each other. There's a network of about 30 or 40 bands that I work with, and a bunch of people that I've been friends with in the music industry for a long time. And I still call them sometimes. I'm like, hey, yo, should I do this or this? What should I do? Can I have some advice? Those kind of things I don't think are, cared enough about in the current state of the music industry. It's kind of just like, you pay this person to do this thing, you pay this person to do this thing, you pay this person to do this thing, and then we all get to go on tour and, whatever. But I just want to teach bands and artists who care about being stewards of their own career and their own art how to. Some bands don't care and just want to play shows and hang out, and the record label can own the music and we can sell the t-shirts, and that's it. I have no qualms with that. It's just not really the way I want to do it, and I don't want to own, I've said this before and I'll say it again, I don't want to own the right to sell art or music that I didn't create, or me and my friends didn't create together. I just don't think that's the way I want to do it, and it's never the way I wanted to do it, and it just never really made sense to me. From a business standpoint, I guess it would be great to own a bunch of things, make money off of them by just releasing them. But for me, I'm an artist, I'm in a band, I'll always be in a band, I'll always be in multiple bands, and for me it's more important to myself and to the people that I'm involved in music with to say, hey, we can do this. We don't need, it's not that we don't need help, because to say we don't need help is total bullshit. That's why I say we're an interdependent record label, not an independent record label, because we depend on each other all the time. My dad ships orders out for me. I'll call my friends when I'm on tour. Hey, can we spend the night at your house? Didn't you say your uncle fixes cars? Because like our transmission be sounding like the Cookie Monster right now, and we need some help. Like you can't get through depending only on yourself. My point is, by saying independent, by saying DIY, it's that you own the right to your music, that nobody else can tell you when you have to put a CD out. Nobody else can tell you when you can't put a CD out, because being on a record label, there's a thing called release schedules, and they don't want your release to interfere with another one of your releases or another one of their artists' releases, and there's all kinds of like this confusing rigmarole and red tape of why we can and can't release it here and then, and it's just like, I wrote the song yesterday, I want to put it out now. I don't care about the other artists on your label. It's not that I don't care about them, it's like, why does that affect us? It shouldn't. More content is more content. For a lot of bands on labels, you're stuck to this schedule, and if you don't have that record written by the time that they want to put it out, you have to do something. You can't put nothing out. So a lot of bands, I feel like, have forced songs onto records that shouldn't have been there in the first place, because they don't play them live. They've never played them live. They don't really like them. They just had to put them on the record because the label needed a full length. So for me, saying those kinds of things to bands that are on my label, I think is bullshit. So I started a label, and I want me and anyone that is down and is cool to use the same name, and then essentially we all look bigger. It's like if there's a bunch of bees flying around, there's just a bunch of bees. But if they get in a swarm, a bunch of them, like 30 or 40 bees, that's some scary shit. You know, have you ever seen a swarm of bees? That's frightening. Have you ever seen one bee? You're like, oh, well, a bee, whatever. Same thing with a school of fish. We look bigger by being together, by using the same name. I don't want anything from you monetarily for using that name other than being affiliated with you, because the facts are, when you're on a label with a band that's way bigger, it's like, oh, you're on thus and such's label, you're on the same label as Hatebreed? Like, what? Whoa, I should look you guys up, I should check you out. People think that's cool. They associate, it's like a fraternity or a sorority, like a kind of club. Well, being in our club doesn't have to cost you your arm, your fucking leg, your heart, your soul, and the rights to your music. You are the owner of your own rights. You put your music up digitally. You paid for and released the physical copies. You have your own booking and management. Booking and management that's separate. That's aside from being a DIY band. You can have a booking agent and a manager and still be a DIY band. There's a lot of bands that have those things, and I still consider DIY. There are some bands that say, you know, fuck that, we book ourselves, we manage ourselves, blah, 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 blah. That's kind of how I am at this point. But if somebody came along and was like, hey, I want to spend the time and the energy to book all your shows, that's less emails I got to send. I'm going to do that. Because for me, I don't like sending emails. I like writing music, I like hanging out, I like traveling. Sitting on a computer and sending emails is like digging knives into my eyes. So for me, that's not something I want to do. But if there's somebody in my band that's like, hey man, I can handle the booking agent's job, why not? The other thing that does come with a booking agent, I will say this, is they have connections and friendships. That's the same kind of thing comes with a manager. Like, they have networks, they have people that they've been friends with for a long time. Hey, will you do this for me and put this band I'm working with on this thing you're doing? So that's why I've never seen a problem with a booking agent and a manager, because those people are there to help you, I feel. And it's not that a label isn't there to help you, it's just that I feel like the current state and the system that they run it on only works for the people that own record labels. Because in the end, your band has to sell you have to sell more records, you have to sell more money for more records faster than they can spend it in a lot of ways. Like, it's very hard to recoup when you're a smaller band. Yeah, of course, bands that are massive make lots of money, but we've all heard the horror stories, we've all watched the court cases drawn out for years over big bands that can't get the rights to their music back or just one off their label. I never want to have to worry about that. When you sign to PAKY, you literally sign nothing. Because in my eyes, if I'm going to make you sign a piece of paper saying that we're going to do something, it's because I later am either worried that you're going to fuck me over or you're worried that I'm going to fuck you over. And if we're in a business relationship worrying about us fucking each other over, why are we even working together? It's just always been my opinion. A piece of paper isn't worth the time it took to print that out if you sign it, because at the end of the day, we can still both fuck each other over. But yeah, so I just get a lot of questions, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of correspondence with bands that want to know what it is we do, how we do it, and it's basically, you do it. We literally do nothing for you, nothing. We show you how to do it, which is, that is a lot of something, but it's not, we're not paying for your release, we're not buying you a van, we're not putting you on this tour, we're not doing things that you could simply do yourself. We're empowering you, we're showing you that, hey, I'm in a band too. The people that run this label with me are also in many bands with me and in bands of their own, and it's just like, hey, look, we're doing this, you can also do this. It's not rocket science, it's not building a car, it's not, even that, you just get a book, you can build a car. There's a lot of things that are very, very, very simple if you just take the time to learn how to do them, such as screen printing t-shirts. There's a lot of bands that don't do that themselves and very much could, and that's one of the biggest ways a band makes money, is selling t-shirts on tour. That's another thing I do for myself, and eventually I'll be posting videos of like instructional type videos of how to screen print, because I think that's something everyone should know. It's beyond simple, it's just anyone could do it. But like I said, we're a learning label. We stand for pass along knowledge yourself. That's what the letters stand for. I want to show people and teach people how to do it. Basically, if you give a man a fish or a person a fish, they'll eat for one day. But if you teach a person to fish, they'll never go hungry.